Today we're going to be ranking every boss in raids from hardest to easiest. We're going to rank all four sub bosses, and I'm going to count Brainiac's phases each as our own boss, since each phase has completely different elements from one another, and each phase has their own health bar. Keep in mind that this is just my opinion, and if you enjoy the video, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button. Let's get started. Number 8, Brainiac Phase 2. Brainiac Phase 2 has a lot of really annoying elements to it. It's got random tag-in, critical attack, and lethal attack resistance, and he also disables one of your specials at random. The random tag-in is honestly the worst part of it, because everybody has a story of being tagged in, of their damage dealer being tagged in at the worst possible moment. Right when Brainiac is about to do a super move or a special, and then he completely annihilates your damage dealer and it ruins your day and it ruins your match. On top of that, because of the random tag-in, most of the time people just kill off their side characters, and that's honestly really smart. The only problem with this, and it's honestly just better to have this problem than the random tag-in, is the fact that now your damage dealer is going to be left alone having to deal with all of the damage that Brainiac is going to do towards him. Right? Normally, when you're fighting phase 1, phase 3, phase 4, or sub bosses, you can just go ahead and tag in your tank, your combo builder, or whatever, and they can take the special damage. But in phase 2, most of the time you're just going to leave your damage dealer and he's going to have to take all of the damage. On top of that, with the critical attack and lethal attack resistance that Brainiac has, the amount of damage that you're used to and the amount of damage that your character is normally going to do is going to be super reduced. It's going to be greatly reduced, all right? We rely a lot on critical attack damage and every once in a while on lethal attack damage. Now that you don't have that, that's a really big bummer. He also disables one of your specials at random. This isn't too bad, but if you are using somebody like King of Atlantis Aquaman and Brainiac disables your special 3, that's really bad luck. On top of that, most people only use one special in their character because that special in particular has some, really OP elements to it. So if Brainiac decides to disable that one special, which always seems to happen, that always seems to be the bad luck with me, then yeah, that completely ruins the match because now you can't use that one special that you really want to use. This phase is honestly the worst, and the only one that even comes close to this is going to be number 7. Number 7, Horrific Scarecrow. Aside from the fact that you can at least be doing critical attack damage and lethal attack damage towards Horrific Scarecrow, he is still just as annoying as Brainiac P2. He still possesses that random tag-in buff, and in addition, Horrific Scarecrow, through his basic attacks and his special moves, will deal damage to tagged out teammates. This can be very dangerous because just like with Brainiac P2, most of the time you want to kill off your support characters and you just want to leave off your damage dealer. The reason why this is so bad is because since Horrific Scarecrow is going to be doing damage towards your support characters to actually kill them, a percentage of that damage is going to be going to your damage dealer. So now you're going to be left off with a damage dealer with like 20% less health, and that's basically how you're going to start the match. That is super, super annoying. It is very frustrating. Normally, this ability won't kill you, but it has happened to me before where, my support character, I accidentally forget to block with him, and then Horrific Scarecrow hits me with a special 2 or a special 1, and it crits all hits, and then all of that damage goes towards my damage dealer, and now he's basically dead. Again, it doesn't happen too often, but it is something that you have to watch out for. In addition, Horrific Scarecrow has a really annoying special 2. The special 2 does armor pierce, and it also disables all of your special abilities for a few seconds. Towards the end of the match, this is really, really annoying and really dangerous. Not only is he going to be doing a ton of damage because it's armor pierce, but most importantly, or should I say the thing that sucks the most, is the fact that your specials are going to be disabled a lot because Horrific Scarecrow really loves spamming that special. It really does suck if your damage dealer has to rely a lot on his specials to get the job done. But if you have characters that just do basic attack hits and they do a ton of damage through their basic attack hits, then it's not too bad. You still have to worry about losing a ton of health with this guy, and that's what's super annoying. Number 6, Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate is miles better than fighting number 7 or number 8. But I'm still going to put him at number 6 because he can be quite annoying. First of all, you have to realize that he is Dr. Fate. And because of that, his special abilities are going to cost 2 power bars less. So he's just going to be spamming specials right off the bat. That is super annoying, but at least they don't do a ton of damage as long as you block. In addition, Dr. Fate has these little buffs where he has a chance of doing more crit hits, and his crit hits will be doing more damage. Again, you can just ignore this if you just block all the way. However, because his special 2 does do dot damage and it is a hazard, occasionally you might run into it and it will do some crit damage towards you. It isn't too bad, you just need to learn how to avoid. I do find it, however, annoying whenever Dr. Fate just starts spamming his special 2, and whenever he triggers his special 2, he kind of swipes back, right? That's how the special works. He swipes back and his special drops in front of him. And so it's just really annoying having to chase after him every once in a while. This doesn't happen too often where he'll spam it like 5 times, but it's still very annoying to fight. In addition, I don't know if this happens to you guys, but this does happen to me. Sometimes I completely forget that this guy's super move only costs 8 bars of power. And sometimes I will have my damage dealer in there and I'll be thinking, okay, once he gets to 9 power bars, I'll tag them out. But of course, by that time, it's over. It's over. His super move triggers at 8 bars of power instead of 10, and that slips my mind every once in a while. Again, I don't know if that's just a me problem, but it does tend to happen, and he is super annoying to fight. Again, though, not as annoying as Horrific Scarecrow or Brainiac Phase 2. Number 5, Brainiac P3. When you first go into P3, it looks like a lot is happening. Obviously you have those hazards on the ground. You have to worry about the armor-piercing specials from Brainiac. You have to worry about the power drain. But in reality, honestly, I don't think it's as bad as most people say it is. First of all, we have a lot of characters that have a lot of health, in other words, tanks, and we also have a lot of characters that will heal. Kind of like the Batman Ninja team, which is my favorite team to use against P3. So you don't really have to worry about the dot damage hazard. In terms of the power drain, this can be quite annoying, but we do have John Stewart Green Lantern to help us out. And in addition, we are super lucky at the fact that when you corner Brainiac all the way to the right, you can see a lot of strategies about that in YouTube. There's just dot damage, right? The hazard all the way to the right is just dot damage. So if you really want, you could just do that strategy where you get your damage dealer to like 0 health and just, perform specials and basic attack hits and that just do a ton of damage and then just tag in your tank. Right, it does seem very dangerous, and whenever I watch videos on that, I'm always kind of like on the edge of my seat, waiting to see if Brainiac is just going to completely screw him over. But it honestly isn't as hard as it seems. Again, also if you have those teams that can just heal up like crazy, like the Batman Ninja team, you don't have to worry about power drain at all because you're just going to be cornering to the right, and you don't have to worry about the dot damage at all because you're going to be healing. So yeah, this guy isn't as annoying as most people say he is, but it is something that you have to worry about. And I feel like this is the only phase where you have to really build your characters to fight this phase. Most people don't fight this phase with just any random team guns blazing, right? Most people build up their characters to actually fight here. Again, though, because there are so many characters that you can use to fight this phase, I don't think it's that annoying. Speaking of using specific teams, we're going to move on to number 4, Captain Cold. You guys already know what I'm going to say. Multiverse team. The multiverse team completely annihilates any sort of advantage that Captain Cold has. First of all, the most annoying part about him is the fact that he has a lot of critical attack resistance. The multiverse team completely annihilates this when you have multiverse armored Supergirl. In addition, Captain Cold's specials have a chance of stunning you if you do not block them. Obviously, if you just block, you'll be fine. But if you do get stunned, you will also be dealt damage over time, which really does suck. However, again, you don't have to worry about this if you just have Armored Supergirl, Multiverse Armored Supergirl, because she can interrupt specials. On top of that, if you have a teammate like, let's just say Multiverse Supergirl, regular Supergirl, or if you have Multiverse Green Arrow, or you have Multiverse Black Lightning, my favorite is Multiverse Black Lightning, you don't have to worry about any sort of defense at all. With Multiverse Black Lightning on top of that, whenever Captain Cold performs a special, it will just keep costing more and more and more, which gives you a lot more time to just be doing damage and not having to worry about anything else. I know that this is kind of like a cop-out answer to just say that Captain Cold is easy if you have the multiverse team, but honestly, getting the multiverse team is not that hard, man. And if you really think about it, as long as you block, Captain Cold doesn't really have any sort of buffs. Yes, he has a lot of critical attack resistance, and you won't be doing a lot of critical attack damage, but you can just go ahead and get the Justice League team if you want and just add a bunch of attack towards them and you will still be fine, right? You can use King of Atlantis Aquaman, you can use the multiverse team like I just said, you can use a lot of characters, just add a bunch of attack if you really want to fight Captain Cold and you will be okay, right? It's really not that hard. And at least, even though you won't be doing any sort of critical attack damage, you don't have to worry about being dealt a lot of damage. And honestly, ranking Captain Cold was kind of weird. He is hard in some senses, but he also isn't hard in others. So I just decided to kind of put him in the middle since he isn't really that annoying as long as you block, like I said earlier. Again, just add a bunch of attack and you will be fine. Now we're in the top 3s. Let's go. Number 3 is Gorilla Grodd. Gorilla Grodd, I can't really say too much about him, and I won't say too much about, number 2 and number 1 either, because these guys are really, really easy, man. Gorilla Grodd has a bunch of minions. You can kill him off in one hit, and you don't have to worry about anything else, right? Gorilla Grodd does have like some sort of buff where he will do more damage according to how much power he has. But again, this isn't really that big of a deal. He doesn't do, so much more damage that it's game breaking or anything like that, or that you have to worry about your damage dealer all the time. If you miss a special or two here or there, it's not that bad. Gorilla Grodd is really, really easy. You can still perform critical attack hits towards him, lethal attack hits towards him. You can still perform any special that you want. He's just all around super, super easy to fight. Now, I'm going to talk about Last Laugh Joker when I get to number 1. Just hold on because I'll bring back Gorilla Grodd when I talk about that. Number 2, Brainiac P4. I can completely understand if you wanted P4 to be at number 1, but I personally put it at number 2 simply because you really do need to have a power drainer. And that isn't bad because there are a lot of really great power drainers, but it is kind of restrictive, If you really let that super move slide, you're dead, right? You can't do anything about it. However, again, there are a lot of really good power drainers, so it's also like, well, it's not that big of a deal, You could just go ahead and add in, let's say, Justice League Cyborg, and you will be completely fine. In addition, Brainiac P4 does not use any specials at all. He just has a super move, which means that you don't have to worry about any sort of damage. You can just beef up your characters as much as you want, and you save a lot of time, waiting for him to perform his specials and stuff. The only thing that I do find annoying about this phase is whenever he changes his classes, I feel like that takes forever. I know I'm exaggerating, but it's still kind of there. And especially when, you're like towards the end of the match, and let's say you kind of let the power slide for Brainiac, and he's almost at his super move, and then he changes classes. It's kind of frustrating waiting for him to like change his classes for you to attack. I don't know. I know I'm blowing it out of proportion. Again, I understand if P4 was your number 1 pick, but I personally decided that number 1 is only slightly, and I mean slightly better than number 2. Number 1, Brainiac P1. This is the battle that everybody wants to fight because you can do loads of damage really, really quickly. There is virtually nothing to worry about. Yes, he has specials, and yes, he has super moves. However, they don't deal a lot of damage. So as long as, you're tagging in your combo builder or your tank every once in a while, your damage dealer will be completely fine. You don't have to worry about anything. You will be doing a lot of damage regardless of what you do. The only thing that you do, quote unquote, have to worry about is the minions. And now this is where I was going to bring up Gorilla Grodd. All right, so Gorilla Grodd obviously has his minions as well. And Last Laugh Joker really benefits from this because you can kill off the minions and it will beef him up. But with Gorilla Grodd, there's really no reason to do this, right? This is the only reason why I'm ranking P1 higher than Gorilla Grodd. In P1, once you're done with that phase, you can keep going on to P2, P3, and P4 and continue doing more damage in that same pip. Unfortunately, with Gorilla Grodd, once you do that 5 million damage, it's over. And again, the reason why I bring up Last Laugh Joker is because those minions really do benefit you a lot. And so, again, this is why I have to rank P1 a little bit higher. P1 is just all around super easy. There's nothing to worry about at all. Anytime early on when you saw a lot of really great gameplay, it all had to do with P1. I feel like a lot of people are really burnt out from it since every character does great. And that's actually a thing. That's actually a problem that people have. That there is so much P1 gameplay and so many characters that perform well in P1 that it kind of gets boring. That is such a great problem to have. It's like having a lot of money, right? It's like saying, I don't know what to do with my money because I have a lot of money. That's a problem that you want to have because it's that great. Again, I can't really say too much about P1. It is just so basic and so awesome because of that. All right, guys, that's the list. I completely understand that everybody has their own roster and everybody builds characters in any way that they want. So I understand if people are going to disagree with me in some of these rankings. I think in particular, the middle is where most people are going to disagree. When I'm ranking Dr. Fate, P3, and Captain Cold, those are like really weird to rank them. You can definitely make an argument to have either one of those in any ranking. However, when it comes to number 8 and number 7, and number 3, number 2, and number 1, I really don't feel like those are arguable. Those are really just, the best at what they're supposed to be. So number 8 and number 7 is the best at being the worst. They're just terrible. P2 and Horrific Scarecrow, I hate fighting that phase and that sub-boss. I just hate it, all right? And when it comes to the top 3, obviously, I just love fighting either one of those because it's super easy. I also want to apologize if I sound super repetitive in this video. There isn't really too much to say when it comes to these phases, and I talk really fast. And also, I really feel like sometimes I don't bring my thoughts to the plate as well as I should, so I always try to emphasize everything that I'm thinking. Anyways, if you guys made it through the end of the video, I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe and stay clean.